Hola, ¿cómo está? That's all the Spanish I speak for the most part, but welcome. Glad you're here. Genesis 16 is a short chapter. It's pretty easy to understand, it's pretty clear. So if you're thinking, I really don't have time for Bible study today, this is your chapter. It's going to be a quick one. So let's jump right into Genesis chapter 16. This is your first time, share, like, and comment. There you go. Chapter 16. Now it says, Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had not been able to bear children for him, but she had an Egyptian servant named Hagar. So Sarai said to Abram, The Lord has prevented me from having children. Go and sleep with my servant. Perhaps I can have children through her. And Abram agreed with Sarai's proposal. I know that's shocking, right? That he went, Oh, okay. Uh, so Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, the Egyptian servant, and gave her to Abram as a wife. This happened 10 years after Abram had settled in the land of Canaan. So Abram had sexual relations with Hagar, and she became pregnant. But when Hagar knew she was pregnant, she began to treat her mistress Sarai with contempt. Then Sarai said to Abram, This is all your fault. I put my servant into your arms. But now that she is pregnant, she treats me with contempt. The Lord will show who's wrong, you or me. Abram replied, Look, she is your servant, so deal with her as you see fit. Then Sarai treated Hagar so harshly that she finally ran away. So she didn't actually send her away. I'd always kind of thought she did, but she didn't. She ran away. The angel of the Lord found Hagar beside a spring of water in the wilderness along the road to Shur. The angel said to her, Hagar, Sarai's servant, where have you come from and where are you going? I'm running away from my mistress, Sarai. Sarai, she replied. The angel of the Lord said to her, Return to your mistress and submit to her authority. Then he added, I will give you more descendants than you can count. And the angel also said, You are now pregnant, and I will give birth to a son. You are to name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard your cry of distress. This son of yours will be a wild man and untamed as a donkey. He will raise his fist against everyone, and everyone will be against him. Yes, he will live in open hostility against his relatives. That doesn't sound like Muslims, does it? Thereafter, Hagar used another name to refer to the Lord who had spoken to her. She said, You are the God who sees me. She also said, Have I truly seen the one who sees me? So that well was named Ber Lahai Roy, which means well of the living one who sees me. It can still be found between Kadesh and Bereh. So Hagar gave Abram a son, and Abram named him Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Ishmael was born. That's terrifying too. But like I said, 10 years after he had left his father and brother in Haran is kind of where we're at right now in this moment. A servant of the wife was her property, so she could send her away, give her away, do anything she wanted to with her at the time. They weren't allowed to be mean necessarily, cruel, but they didn't necessarily have to be great all the time. I guess is a good way to put it. But so this is kind of one of those chapters that's pretty clear, so we want to move past it fairly quickly. But this is where versions come into play. In verse 13 and 14, in the complete Jewish version, it gives us a little bit different spin and lets us see things that we won't see if we don't read it in the complete Jewish version. It says, So she named Adonai, who had spoken with her, El Roi, God of seeing, because she said, Have I really seen the one who sees me and stayed alive? This is why the well has been called Be'er Lakah Roy. Well, the well of the one who lives and sees. It lies between Kadesh and Berar. Ishmael is the patriot of many, many different races, uh, primarily creating the Arabs, obviously. I say obviously, maybe you didn't know that, but they are wild as donkeys. What's great about this in the complete Jewish version, and the reason I wanted to read it in that is because she named Adonai, who had spoken with her, something. This was an attribute of God. And at the time, Adonai was a word for the highest God. That's what they called him. He's not given his personal name yet. We will get that. But uh, part of naming God Adonai or Be'er Lakag Roy is because these are all attributes, things about God, and it produces a name or reputation. That's kind of what a name meant back then. That's why Ishmael is a wild donkey and those kind of things, because God is not just the three things that we've decided God is, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. He is a bunch of stuff. He is a bunch of different attributes. The one who sees, the one who hears, and all of those are important. I'm not disparaging the Trinity doctrine. I'm saying the Trinity doctrine doesn't fully encapsulate God. He's more than we can describe by a three-word kind of description. So that's what chapter 16 is about. Now go out and change the world and love people. What is it? Love God, love people, and change the world. God bless. We'll talk to you soon.